What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is Love and Marriage Huntsville season 3, episode 14. So we pick up with Letitia is still at the counseling session with Dr. Francis, who, again, I say must just be the only counselor in the state of Alabama, much less the city of Huntsville. But anyway, and he's talking to her about, again, her relationship and her interaction with Marceau. They talked about her believing the rumors and how, excuse me, and how do you get past the rumors about whether you believe that they're true or not. And she said, listen, he's never really done anything for me to, to feel like he's lying to me. I went to the person that the rumors, were involving. They looked me dead in my face and I believe them. Listen, at a certain point in a relationship, either you got to believe it or you don't. And if you don't believe them, then y'all got a bigger problem. I mean, if it's easy for us on the outside to be like, girl, he lying, girl, he this, he that. But if you don't believe your husband, then they started talking about her being independent and how Marceau had a problem with her being an independent person early on in their relationship, and he told her he wanted her to be more dependent, which she did do. And again, later on in the episode, we see her and Marceau talking, and y'all know I like Marceau, I do, but Marceau, I ain't lying, he got a silver tongue. He knows how to flip stuff. He knows how to turn stuff inside out, and by the time he got done talking to Letitia, he made it seem like Dr. Francis had her confused and stuff, and that's not what he did. He didn't have her confused. What he said to her was, you are a mother and you are a wife, but what else are you? What else is, or who else is Letitia outside of being a mother and a wife? He ain't confused. I mean, she not confused. He was just trying to get her to understand, listen, you had goals and dreams prior to. You said that in the beginning of y'all's relationship, you were an independent woman. What does that look like now? And Marceau, listen, at the end of the day, y'all don't have to like what Marceau says, but Marceau has been saying the same thing from the beginning. Like, he ain't never stopped saying what he was saying. We may not like what he's saying. We may not agree with what he's saying, but Marceau has been consistent in who he is as a husband and what he wants from a wife. Anyway, Melody and Martell took the kids out to do some work that their co-parenting counselor asked them to do. And oh my gosh, y'all, I'm so sorry. The episode wasn't boring. It's just been a long day. But ultimately, it was a good conversation. The kids were there, Melody and Martell were there, and they actually got along for this part of it. And they had the kids ask them questions. They had these cards to help spark the conversation. And ultimately, the kids are letting them know, listen, we're not cool with y'all being in separate homes. We want y'all to get back together. We are holding on to the hope that y'all will eventually get back together. We don't want no stepmamas. We don't want no stepdaddies. We want y'all to start spending more time together, and we want y'all to get back together. And Melody asked a good question. Melody said, but do you think that mommy's happier now or before? And the son said, I know y'all don't argue as much, or something to that effect, or I don't have to see y'all fussing, or something to that effect. So you see that they saw those things, but they haven't made the connection between that making mommy happy. You know what I'm saying? But it was a good conversation. I feel like it was a very mature thing for Martell and Melody to do together. And then there was a point about having crushes. And Martell said, I have a secret crush. And they were like, who's your secret crush? Who's your secret crush? He was like, y'all are. And that daughter said, no, we're not. I saw who your crush was at the hotel. You were on the elevator. And Martell was like, what? And Melody said, no, you're right. You did. You did. And he said, well, when was this? And the daughter is going to say, don't tell her, mommy, that's our secret. First of all, I got a question. Was it an innocent situation where y'all just happened to be at this same hotel that Martell was getting on the elevator with some woman and going wherever he was going? That's number one. Or was it you were following him and you had the baby with you and you was going to roll up on them people? I mean, that's my first question. My second question is, why didn't you have a conversation with her and say, hey, daddy's working. Daddy's doing da 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 da. You clearly allowed that child, or led that child to believe that daddy was with a woman and it was something romantic for her to draw the conclusion that that's dad. Like, just seeing your daddy on the elevator with another woman doesn't automatically mean that there's more going on there other than friendship, unless he was holding her hand, unless he was doing something sexual, flirty, romantical like, right? And I'm not blaming Melody, because Martell, if you was wrong, you were wrong, and you probably was out there creeping. Let's be clear. But I just felt like, first of all, in all y'all arguments, that never came up. And your daughter saw you on the elevator with so-and-so. Yesterday, down to the Hilton. Like, I don't know. And Martell sort of did the same thing, sort of gave a side eye to Melody, like, I don't know. I don't know. I got questions about that one. I don't know. But neither here nor there. So the kids went to go play. And then they started getting into a conversation about the 47 acres. And again, it was sort of confirmed what Martell said, sort of confirmed what I was saying last week. I don't think Martell was purposefully trying to block Melody out of building the 47 acres. I don't think he thought she was interested in building. And like he said, you had the builder's license, but I did all the work. And she was like, what are you talking about? Because I did this and I did that and I did this and I did that. And once again, it is down to perception. Because it sounds like in Martell's mind, I was on the ground. I was boots on the ground. I was at these construction sites. I did this and I did that. Melody's thing is, but I handled X, Y, and Z. Because again, they had their very specific roles as it relates to their relationship, their business relationship. And Melody was like, why would you go to somebody else before coming to me? And he was like, but I didn't think you were interested. And she was like, well, you could have called me. You called me about everything else. You could have called me and asked about the 47 acres. And I agree. I do agree with that. If you thought Melody wasn't interested, but you know that she's got the builder's license and that was the original plan, you could have called her. You could have called her and said, Mel, what's going on? What's good? But the problem is, y'all can't get along for longer than 5 minutes about nothing. We're going to get to that argument in a minute. So, back to the conversation I was telling you guys about where Letitia goes to talk to Marceau. So come to find out, they done fired Uncle Ray Ray, but then they hired Uncle Ray Ray back after Marceau went to another architect and found out it was going to cost him about $300,000 just to start over on the house. So they went back to Uncle Ray Ray after having a conversation with, sound like they talked to his boss child, and they're going to try to make it work out. Listen, won't nobody do you like family will. Anyway, then we find out that there's a Destiny's race. It's a 5K, something that they're doing for their charity child. I don't know why you run and you think about your destiny, whatever. I thought this was Destiny's project until they explained what it was. But it's their project. And she said she sent out a message to everybody, to all the ladies, but she only heard back from Mel and from Destiny. Meaning she ain't heard from Kimmy and she ain't heard from Tiffany, okay? That about them doing some sponsorships and stuff like that. You know, back to the conversation. Marceau, as far as the cheating thing, was like, listen, at this point, I don't have to prove nothing to anybody. I don't have to prove nothing to social media. I don't have to prove nothing to these fans. All I'm going to say is either you believe me or you don't. Either you believe that I did cheat or you don't. But I tell you what, if I kept 2 kids away from you and without a peep and nobody knew and nobody said nothing, baby, I deserve an award, okay? I ain't gonna say that because I know people who done kept whole families away from it and they ain't find out nothing until the person died. So one don't necessarily equal the other. But okay, I'm gonna let you have that. Okay, Marcel. Okay. Um, but that's pretty much that, child. So Tiffany and her husband, Lewis, are celebrating their 1 year anniversary. And last year, because they got married during the COVID, they couldn't really have everybody around like they wanted. And so they are now having this um baseball game. They invited their friends and family, and it's the Scotts and Melody and Martell. It's the people on the show. They're playing, and they're playing in front of their family, and it's fun. Of course it's competitive, and they're having a good time and all that good stuff. Um the Scotts whooped their ass. That's what it looked like had happened. That the Scotts, beat up on them a little bit. Um, but it was fun. It looked like fun. It looked like they had a good time and all that good stuff. Until the game was over and we get to the end, and we're back in the clubhouse talking. Y'all, I'm not about to sit here and waste no whole lot of time getting into this argument between Martell and Melody, because they literally sat there arguing about who wanted the divorce first. Marceau said he wanted a divorce, but he let Melody file so that she could save face. But he don't like the fact that she went out over social media and blasted all over social media that she filed for divorce, even though he let her file for divorce first. Melody was like, boy, bye. I filed for that divorce because you ain't even really want to divorce me. Then Martell said, you're right, I didn't want the divorce. Then why the fuck? So 1 minute you filed for the divorce, but the next minute you didn't want the divorce. But we arguing about who filed for the divorce first and who said what on social media. Y'all, I cannot. I can't. I can't. I don't have no more energy for it. Cause they literally was sitting there arguing over who filed for divorce first. Then Martell said something about what people do on social media. And Lewis was like, listen, at a certain point, sometimes you just gotta let shit go. Like, why do you always have to be right? Why do you always have to argue? Why does it always have to be an issue? And Tiffany was like, now here we are at another anniversary. We supposed to be here celebrating love. We supposed to be here, black love and all of this. And here they come hijacking the moment with their petty bullshit. Now, she ain't say all of that. I put my sauce on it. But I bet you that's what she said when the cameras wasn't rolling. Because that's what they did. They did it in Vegas. And now you're doing it here. Y'all can't control yourselves with your own bullshit. Even at an event that's about celebrating somebody else's happiness. Y'all just can't let nobody else be happy. And that goes for both of them. Both of them do it. But the one thing that I thought was funny was Lewis, because eventually the guys went to a separate room and the ladies were, still in the clubhouse. And what I thought was interesting was Lewis was like, Martell, you like it. You know how to find her buttons. You push her buttons because you like it and you think it's cute. He was like, you got that smirk on your face. And Martell was like, no, I don't. But he was smiling when he said it. Yes, you do. You know exactly. Just like when you took her ass down there to that damn Starbucks talking about you want full custody. You know good and damn well Melody ass ain't never giving you full custody of them kids. You know that's not happening. There is no universe that exists where you are going to get custody of them children. Come on, Martell. So again, you do know Melody's buttons and you do push her buttons. But Melody, Destiny said later on in the conversation, you allow him. She said something that I've learned in therapy is I don't have to give somebody that power. I don't have to allow somebody to have that control over me. And I agree 100%. I 120% agree with what Destiny said. If y'all gotta stop. Then we get to this other dumb shit. So Marceau and Tisha had to run an errand. They came back, and again, Marceau went outside with the guys, and that's when they were talking to Martell about, you gotta stop martelling. You gotta stop, Martell just to be martelling. You just gotta stop it. But then they were talking about the Destiny Walk or 5K. And Tisha said, well, I sent a text message to all of you ladies, but I only heard back from Mel and I only heard back from Destiny. Now, Kimmy, you my girl. I be riding with Kimmy. And 99.9% of the time, I agree with Kimmy. But on this one, Kimmy, you lost me. Kimmy was like, I felt some kind of way about being included in the group text because, like, any other time you didn't have to put me in a group text, you just called me. And I went on your website and I did register to volunteer. She was like, oh, but you didn't tell me. She was like, well, I shouldn't have had to tell you. And Kimmy, how was Letitia supposed to know if you don't tell her? And then Letitia said, well, you could call me. I mean, you said that you felt some kind of way about me putting it in a group text, but why didn't you call me and tell me? And Kimmy says, well, you know I'm not a good phone person. You have a problem with something Tisha did, but instead of picking up the phone and calling Tisha, you just let it simmer. You're real passive aggressive with it, and then you feel like she should have picked up the phone and called you to ask you what's wrong. And the only thing I could think is she was like, well, it was never a problem until it was a problem. It was never a problem until me and you started having issues. Now all of a sudden, I'm just part of a group text. So what you mad about is normally you would have gotten a phone call and you felt like because you didn't get a phone call, you felt like that's Tisha being passive aggressive. Like, is that what it is here? Because I just feel like Tisha was like, ain't nobody got time to be making 20 different phone calls. But then Tisha brings up a good point and says, you know what? It wasn't a problem until I realized you don't call me. It's always me calling you. It's always me reaching out. And Kimmy was like, but that's what it's always been. So you're mad because that's what our relationship has always been. You've always called me more than I've called you. And Tisha brought up a good point. Tisha said, yeah, but though I'm tired of it. I'm tired of always feeling like I'm the one reaching out. And I 100% understand where Tisha is coming from. Sometimes when you feel like you are in an uneven relationship, it's okay to pull back and say, you know what? I'm gonna just pull back for a minute and I'm gonna see if they even notice. But the fact that you didn't even, I'm sorry on this one. I'm not with you on this one, Kimmy. Unless it's more to the story that I'm missing and I'm not seeing it, I'm not understanding. I don't understand. I can understand you feeling some kind of way because you like, well, she always used to call me and now she's not calling me. Okay, I'm gonna give you that one. But it's all about communication. You can't hold somebody accountable for something that they don't know they did wrong. But damn it, Tisha. Just when I'm defending you, just when I'm on your side, here you go with this dumb shit. So now she gonna say, well, you've been having events without calling me. And Kimmy was like, girl, what you talking about? I ain't done nothing. Like any event that I've planned, you've been invited to. So what are you talking about? I'm not going to talk about that. I mean, if you don't know what it is, then you don't know what it is. Girl, you brought up a whole situation. And then when Melody tried to get in it and when Tiffany tried to get in it to try to get you to explain what you was talking about, you shut them down talking about, I'm talking to Kimmy, I'm not talking to you. So you're accusing Kimmy of having what? An event, a party, a girls' night out, you going out to dinner, you having drinks. What are you accusing her doing that she didn't invite you to? Again, how is she supposed to defend herself against that accusation if she don't even know what the hell you talking about? Anyway, that's the episode, child. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Am I wrong? Did I miss something? Did I not see it? Tell me, because y'all know Kimmy, my girl. But I just didn't see it this time. I ain't see what you talking about this time, Kimmy. I just didn't. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.